Hey folks, Brian again. This is a campaign diary recap, whatever, for my Princes in the Apocalypse campaign that I've been running for 5th edition D&D. It's been a long time. Holidays were just hard to get together, but we managed to get everybody together again. And with this episode, we're finishing up the Feathergale Spire, and they're going on to the Sacred Stone Monastery. When we left the group last time, they had done a Sphere of Silence and wiped out a bunch of folks that were in the barracks room, and then killed some of the guards at the front gate. And so there's a whole deal with the Sphere of Silence I talked about in my prequel that I'll talk about again in my GM musings. I've decided I'm going to break this up into 3 videos: campaign review, GM musings, and module review. So we'll see how that works out. It'll make some of these shorter, I hope. So they're in the main room, the tower entry hall, trying to get through those double doors that I know lead out to the tower. The drawbridge is up, and so those doors aren't opening. They make a couple of strength rolls, helping people out, all the advantage, that kind of stuff, and they're rolling some good rolls, but still, there's no way they're going to open up doors to the drawbridge up. So I decided to check out the side door there, which is the weapons and armor locker room, which if I would have prepared better for, I would have known that was locked. I would have found out who had the key. I'm guessing that's Thurl, so that we could play off of that. But I didn't do that in depth of review on the tower because I already planned out what I expected for them to encounter, which is further up. So they go in the weapons locker room, and nowhere in the module to discuss the drawbridge and up and closing. So I put the winch in here with chains. They send Aloysius spider form up the chain, find out where it goes, and it goes outside to the drawbridge. And so at that point, everybody starts figuring, oh, okay, drawbridge is up, the devils are up against it. That's why nothing's opening. So after that, they decide they're going to go up to the spire, and we had discussed about the Sphere of Silence thing, so that's not active anymore. Well, while they've been doing all of this, the guards on the outside of the tower at the top had spotted them, so they came down and they got everybody up on the first level, which includes the Starfire Feathergale Spire captain Thurl, and all of the knights that are left. A total of 5 guys left in the tower. 2 guards that are armored up, Thurl, and then 2 other guards who aren't, which happen to be Savra and Jeffrey, 2 of the guards that they've had, or the knights that they've had contact or interaction with. So they essentially, the knights essentially set up not an ambush. It's more of an encounter. They're expecting them to come through the doors, and they do. They're going to hold them at spear point and talk to them, find out what's going on, get them out of the tower, and try and survive. I kind of thought that the party would fight this, and so I had some stuff prepped up. For example, Thur's expecting them to fight, and so he has cast haste on himself already. So you can get 3 attacks out around that way, and his AC goes up, and he could do some really damage to that greatsword. So he's standing by ready to fight, but he doesn't want to. And I'll get to that and more in my the module review on Thurl. So the party gets up there, they do the same thing, Aloysius spider form underneath. But the guards are there watching, they're waiting for something to happen. They see the spider, and they've encountered the spider before, so they're a stomp, let the spider make a saving throw. He gets under, goes invisible, and comes back. So you can watch what's going on. Base description: 4 guards, 2 on each side of the doors. The captain at the far end, great sword out, tip down, facing the door waiting. There's some discussion with the group on what we're gonna do, what we're gonna do, what we're gonna do, and Thurl knows they're there. They're probably talking out loud, so we can hear him talking. That kind of, so he interrupts and says, "Hey, we know you're there. Come on out. Let's talk." So they come and goes, "Why are you back at my tower? What are you trying to do?" And so there's some discussion back and forth, and the party accuses them still of being air cultists. They accuse them of being bad guys, but Thurl's whole position is that he has made this organization, the Knights of the Feathergale Spire, for rich kids at Waterdeep who want to come and fly beasts, have fun, but they've got this overall, we're knights, we're watching over Waterdeep, we're looking for enemies, and while that is true, and he plays off that really hard, it's not the whole story. So he's still playing off that whole thing. We're knights who we ride these beasts, we keep the valley safe, we're trying to track down Waterdeep's enemies and keep Waterdeep safe, and yeah, we're watching Red Larch, we're trying to keep it safe too, that kind of stuff. So eventually they start thinking, well, maybe these night guys aren't cultists after all, and they start feeling really bad about all the people they just murdered. And so there's a big conflict. Well, if we go along, we help these guys out, because as the discussion's going on, Thurl's pointing fingers at the Earth cultists at the Sacred Stone Monastery, that they're the bad guys, that they're doing stuff. And the party knows that there's bad guys there and they're doing stuff because they've been following the trail. They're the ones who ambushed the delegation, right? So they know this is true. And they're still trying, because the Paladin's there, and his mission, well, one of his quests is to get Savra back to her family in Waterdeep. And so Thurl gives them an option. If they go and take out the Sacred Stone Monastery, he'll send with them both Jeffrey and Savra, and then afterwards they can take Savra to Waterdeep, so Savra can explain to her parents and then come back. And so they bite off on that. Sure, absolutely. One of the things my game musings I'll get about is this whole numbers and balance kind of things going on. But so now they've got 5 party members and 2 NPCs. And at this point, they're all 4th level when they go to the Sacred Stone Monastery. So that's pretty decent. They should be able to, well, the Sacred Stone Monastery, if I remember right, no, it's not 6th level, it's maybe just 4th level that it's designed for. I know it's one of the harder of the Haunted Mansion things, but the only leveled encounter, dungeon, whatever, that I specifically recall is the Air Temple, which is designed for 6th level guys. And I kind of expected them to take the tower, to go ahead and take Thurl and his knights out, take over the tower, wander around the valley, find the entrance to, in fact, there's even an encounter thing where if they're looking that direction, they'll see that howling hatred priest or whatever going into the crevice that leads down to the temple. So I kind of expected them to go to the temple. But they bit up on the story on the Sacred Stone Master guys, the bad guys, and so that's where they're going now, or they were going to go next. So they went down to, well, they all got loaded up on flying beasts. Some of the party were just biting at the chomp to, I need a hippogriff. So there are the 4 hippogriffs. He'll amuse those, and there are 2 vultures for Savra and Jeffrey. So they go down, they set everything up, they go out, they're having a great time. Yay, cool. Well, I interpreted part of the whole hunting party for the Manticore piece as a random encounter for, the Manticore's out there, right? So they're flying out there, and I roll, and sure enough, they run into the Manticore. The Manticore moves down, attacks. They all swarm around him and take him out 1 round. Was not impressed with that. I've got some more comments on that in my GM musings. So they fly out of the valley, camp. Next day, they travel over towards the Sacred Stone Monastery, make camp outside the crevice. They wait at first till dark, which was good. That was a good thing. And then they said they were going to wait till midnight. So I was asking specifically time, because there's this whole, at dusk they have dinner, and there's certain things happen at night that don't happen during the day, and all that kind of stuff, right? So they say, we're going to wait till midnight, and then we're going to go in. The only thing in the module that deals specifically with midnight is that's when the priest, Coral, I think his name is, and his 2 guards leave the temple and go to his room. So inside the temple, it's nighttime. The Drew guard, there's 6 of them, 3 in the mines, 3 outside, doing their thing. And then it's nighttime, so most of the monks are in bed. There's some that are awake watching stuff. A couple of guys in the kitchen. Um, and then there's shoot, the abbess. I keep forgetting her name. But at night she's in her room. But there's only 50% chance that she's actually. Well, there's a 50% chance that she is fully awake. That'll come in later. So there's not a whole lot happening at night. So they get there at midnight. They sneak around to that side front door like they did last time. Get up there. Rogue does his thieves' tools things. They break in. Well, while that's going on, I've got my head spinning around. Okay, how is this 3-person guard thing working around the outside of the temple? You know, are the Drugar invisible? Are they enlarged? And there's something about the invisibility enlarged. You can't do both at the same time or something. But anyway, or when they're invisible and they go enlarged, become visible. That's what actually happened. So I had one invisible. And it lasts for like an hour. It takes a short rest to get it back. So there could be this kind of rotation kind of thing. There's always one guy who's invisible, and the invisible guy is going to be out front, kind of thing. So I'm rolling. You know, when does he show up? When does he show up? When does he show up? He finally showed up as they're going into the monastery. And I'll get into this in my GM musings thing too about this whole. I'm trying to figure something out. Should I be prepared? You know, probably. I'm trying to figure something out. But on the map board, the PCs are doing things. And so I look up, and it's like they're all inside the temple. Wait, guys, wait. Get back out. You've got the door open. Something's going to happen. Hold your horses. So replace all the minis. And I rolled to see, you know, where's she coming in from and who's going to attack. He ends up hitting Shavra. So he's invisible. He walks up. He enlarges, becomes visible. Whack. Surprise rock, right? So he hits Shavra. Pings her for like 8 points of damage, not too much. And then everybody turns on him, and you know, 1 round he's down. If I remember right, he didn't really have a whole lot of hit points. Something I do, I use a spreadsheet, and so I don't use this average stuff that's in the monster manual. I do calculations based on that average, and it randomizes. So everybody is different. So he didn't have a whole lot of hit points, if I remember right, compared to the rest of them. And so they take him out 1 round. They drag the body off to the side, try and hide it, and then they go in. Well, I'm rolling dice to see when guard number 2 comes around, because they're going to have to, you know, make contact with each other, make sure they're covering all the territory. They get all the way inside when guard number 2 shows up, sees the body, and they close the door. So he, you know, bangs on his shield with his warhammer. Alert, alert, intruders, intruders. And so they're inside hearing this on the outside. They start to freak and, you know, what are we going to do to defend ourselves? They'll decide to go inside the gym, what's it called? The dojo, which is right there by that door. So they go in there to set up a defense. This guy lets the 3rd Drugar know what's going on. The 3rd Drugar goes to the front doors, gets to the 2 Minotaurs, and tells them what's going on. One of the Minotaurs goes in, the Minotaur goes to get everybody else. The 2nd or 3rd Drugar follows the Minotaur in down the hallway. Drugar number, 2, because one's dead, goes in through the, he enlarges, goes in through the doorway. And so he's coming in from one end, and the abbess, that's right, she was awake. I rolled a 17, so she was fully awake. Alarm, she pops out. She comes looking around, is checking doors, and goes into the dojo. Takes her a couple of rounds to get to, or check this door, check that door kind of thing. And there they are. He pops up, he's at the door, so there's, both doors have monastery folks on them. And then the whole party's inside the middle. I've got a picture actually on Twitter of that encounter. And so there's a fight going on. Drugar's, you know, doing decent. The abbess, for some reason, misses 2 out of her first 3 strikes. I just was rolling bad. And fighting her is the half-orc barbarian and the paladin. They're both at the door, and she's at the door. And then there's Aloysius, invisible imp thing, which eventually gets a sting on her, but since she's immune to disease, or poison rather, she's immune to poison, she's not too worried about him. But this orc is doing some damage. The half orc is doing damage to her, so she wants to nail back. She's able to do a couple of parries, actually get one, how do we call it, repost, probably counter strike, back on one guy. So she does some pretty decent damage. In fact, by the time this whole battle is over, the half orc is almost out because she was dealing damage on him. But he's a big, huge guy. He's the biggest threat, so she was focusing on him. After the end of the battle, and they're searching bodies, and I go through her to see if she had anything. She's got the key on her necklace. I came across where it says in the book that if she's encountered in a room and she feels she's outnumbered, she'll escape through her window. Yeah, she should have backed out as soon as she got down to half hit points. But anyway, c'est la vie. So they kill those two guys. Oh, she was still in the doorway, and the druid did fairy fire on her. Well, at a spot behind her, so it hit her. It would hit anybody in the hallway that's within that 20-foot cube thing. So at that point, the Minotaur was in fact just around the corner. So he got fairy fired, she got fairy fired, but the other Drugar was out of the range. So they're getting advantage on these two guys when they well against her. So they were hitting pretty decent. Well, anyway, she goes down, the Drugar goes down, the Minotaur comes around. The Drugar number 3 is only 25 feet per round, so he's behind him quite a ways. And so they start fighting the Minotaur. The Minotaur comes around actually while the Abyss is still up. So she's shifted inside the room. He's in the doorway. They're all fighting. She goes down. Drugar goes down. They eventually get the Minotaur down. And so they start spreading out into the hallways to see who else is coming. And they back around the corner into the hallway there. Sure enough, in this hallway, Minotaur number 2 is in the lead. Behind him is the priest with his 2 guards in front of him. And then there are 3 monks that are just coming through the doorway. Well, there's monks. There's 8 of them in the barracks, so I just split them in half. Because there's one just on the other side of the door. So there's 4 there, but the other 4 went all the way around. Because they know they went to that side door, so they're going to try and pincer them kind of thing. So that's what the party sees. So they engage on the Minotaur. And I'm going to have some GM musings things about this whole encounter thing. But the priest throws Shatter at 4th level, or 3rd level, 1 level higher. So it's 4d8. At a spot on the wall that will hit all 3 of the party members that are fighting the Minotaur. They'll hit the Minotaur too, so he took some damage, yeah. But I had looked up, what happens if you throw a Shatter on a wall? How many hit points does a wall have? That kind of stuff. So I had to flip the GM's manual, find some stuff there. I didn't plan for him to cast Shatter on the wall, right? But it's going to make sense because Savra, who they're trying to keep alive, is on the other side of that wall. And if Shatter gets through the wall, she'll take damage, right? So that was my thinking. I got figured this out real quick. I found something that was close enough, so I really had like 27 hit points, no problem. So the Shatter goes, does a bunch of damage to the wall. In fact, 20 points of damage to the wall. The guys make their saving throw. I don't remember if the Minotaur did or not, but they take a bunch of damage. So, Lady Jovashai, the Warlock Half-Dro, with the Imp Familiar, sends him, Aloysius, to go and get the priest, because he's a magic user and he's causing some massive damage. So there's a little discussion about, okay, you've got this invisible imp who's flying by. The Minotaur is a large creature. So if it flies by the Minotaur is going to get an opportunity to attack because he's up there. Everybody else, I didn't worry about because he was like a spider form, if I'm right. Yeah, spider form crawling across the ceiling. Okay, he makes, his opportunity attack misses. The spider goes over by the priest, does his drop and sting thing, right? So he hit the priest. The priest takes sting damage, then takes all the poison damage. Now with the abbess, she's immune to poison, so I didn't have to worry about that. But this imp poison on the priest, that hurt bad. So he took his next round to find some visible thing and get rid of it. So he does 2 swipes with his glaive, hit him with 1 strike, but he fumbled the other one, so I had him, chump himself in the jaw with the back end of his pole kind of thing. So he took some damage himself, but he didn't do enough damage to take the imp out. I'm gonna have to look up imps again, see how many hit points they've got. So I was kind of surprised. I remember the imp being fairly weak, that if you hit him, he was out kind of thing. So I'll see how that works. Anyway, he does that. Instead, see, this is the 2 options: either try to take out the imp, or throw shatter a second time. And his initial intent was throw shatter. They're still up, throw shatter again. But then he got the poison thing, and that distracted him. He's got to stay alive first, kind of thing. So he didn't get the second shatter off, which would have taken the wall down and hurt Savra. And she's been pinged on during the previous combat as well. So she's getting down. Jeffrey, by the way, has been throwing a couple of crits and has not been hit once. So they're all impressed with him. Even though Savra's actually a better fighter. Anyway. So the imp does the thing on the priest again and puts him out. At this point, I believe the Minotaur has gone down. So the 2 guards, which are wearing that stone splint stuff, so like an 18 armor class, party moves up and they engage and do some fighting. And that lasts quite a while because it's hard to hurt those guys. But while that's all going on, the guys at the back door come through. And so they come around the hallway and they start, backstabbing a bunch of, well, backstabbing, they don't really backstab, but attacking from the rear some of the party members. And so there's this 2 front thing going on. There are 3 fighters fighting the 2 guards, and then everybody else starts to turn and focus on the monks coming through the back. Now these monks coming through the back are standard monks, earth cult monks, so they have a lot of hit points. They go down pretty quick. Eventually they get the 2 the guards, stone warriors, what they're called, the 2 guards down. And they start looking around, anything going on. It's all quiet. Okay, so they start actually investigating some stuff. They found some double doors that went down. And then the double doors open into the open air causeway that goes in front of the temple. And so they start wanting to map this out. What does it look like? And I go, how far are you going? Because it's going to matter at what point things are going to happen, right? So we managed to get it all mapped out, and one of the players says something about it's at the end, or something that made me think about the time, because we were going to stop at 10 o'clock, so we all had church early Sunday morning. We weren't going to stay late on Saturday night. That was kind of our deal. Say, oh yeah, is it 10 o'clock already? And it was like 15 after. I said, okay, we'll just stop right here. No, we got to stop right here. That's where we stopped. They raked in fairly decent amount of experience points. Not enough for anybody to level up yet, but I want to say they're getting fairly close, because the abbess was worth a whole lot of experience points. The 2 minotaurs and the priests were worth a lot of experience points. The 2 guards were fairly decent amount of experience points, but the monks were worth a whole lot. So, and the Drugar were a fairly decent amount as well. So we had this huge fight up there. Stairwell going downstairs. There's a ogre down there. I've got to figure out, did the ogre hear anything? Because Shavra actually investigated the double doors going down the stairs while the fight was going on. So I'm thinking there's enough noise going on that he may have heard something. I'll have to do some looking at his stats and that kind of thing to see what may be going on preparation-wise in the mines. Okay. So that wraps up our adventure for that point. Finished up Feathergale Spire in part 1 of the Sacred Stone Monastery. You guys have a good game.